Well, the UFC Fight Pass Invitational is headed your way on May 15th. It goes down in the Apex in Las Vegas. And before we look ahead to that, let me say I'm joined now by two stars of the PGF, both of them. You might not have seen Raquel Canuto, but you definitely heard her
Heard her.
during Renacho's matches. First off, guys, how are you doing after what we've been calling the gauntlet of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, about a week removed from it? You guys recovered yet?
Yeah.
Still recovering.
Still recovering.
Still recovering.
I mean, I didn't fight, right? But I feel like I was so emotionally invested in the whole thing. Like, not only Renato's matches, but, like, the entire team. And I was still having my regular schedule here, teaching in the morning, having clients, a stretching, a personal training. And then, like, once I was done, we were, like, running home, getting ready, going there, staying there for, like, 5 or 6 hours. So it was a very long week, like, mentally, physically, emotionally. I feel like, obviously, I'm a little bit more recovered, but I still was feeling it, I feel like, into Sunday. You can answer for yourself.
Yeah, I'm super beaten up. I just got out of the PT today. I took Raquel's physiotherapy session today. We changed. We already did like massage. We went to the spa on Sunday, relaxed. But then I went to PT today and they put needle in my whole body, needles everywhere, getting pulled apart and everything was hurting. But I think after today I'll be feeling good. Yeah.
There you go. I mean, you didn't come out on top, Renato, but it was a performance, I think, by yourself that really reminded everyone why you're such a danger on the mat. And, I'm curious your thoughts because you had such a long layoff from competition and to come and just take all of those matches. Like, how are you feeling physically, mentally, and just about everything, moving forward in competition?
It was a very cool experience in the sense of I knew it was going to be a challenge, right? Like just the idea of it, I knew that it was not going to be easy. But part of me thought I was going to do a lot better as far as like finding submissions and things like that. I also feel like the awareness of everyone knowing of me or knowing my game or knowing where I go for, they were like very much trying to refuse to give me arms and things like that. So it was making it a little bit harder for me to find submissions early on that format. With that said, I feel like I made most guys in there like pretty tired within 6 minutes. I just needed a little bit more time to maybe like find those finishes and things like that. So it was cool. It was very cool to like the experience was like mentally challenging, physically challenging. Um, every day trying to go to sleep was like just the brain still going, the body pretty beaten up, and then waking up super early. Like as soon as the light was up, I was already up and I was ready, like thinking of like, okay, who is it today? What am I gonna do? So but it was pretty cool. I was missing that a lot. So if I was missing competition, I feel like I totally killed that within that marathon, that week marathon that we just had. But it felt super good to be back. I feel like a lot of the things I've been working on, I was able to do in there. My training for MMA has made my jiu-jitsu a lot tighter, a lot more about control. So I feel like I did do that a lot too. I put a lot of squeeze, not just movement. So I feel like I got a lot better and I got to show a lot of it, but a lot of it I still couldn't show. And I'm excited for the UFC Fight Pass in that 10 to 15 minute format. I know that there ain't nobody prepared for the pace I'm going to put on.
I mean, let me just say that 6 minutes is not a very long time, and but you did make the most of it. I don't think that I'm breaking news here, but that flying armbar over Mike John might be submission of the year on UFC Fight Pass. It's got to be the front runner, and I'm assuming that we should look out for those sort of high intensity types of attacks here in the FPI when you take on Aaron Wilson.
Yes, 100%. I feel like we have competed at least like twice, so he'd be watchful as well. He has pretty good wrestling, but I feel like both times we faced as a brown belt and as a black belt, we both times had pretty good matches. A lot of good scrambles. He's also tough to kill. Doesn't want to get caught on anything. He knows a lot about the things I'm gonna do. So I'm excited. I'm truly just try everything I can and just keep pushing the pace with him for as long as I can until I catch him.
And Raquel, you're on the same card as well. The FPI 7, it is May 15th, again, live on UFC Fight Pass. You take on Aileen O'Connell. What is it like to sort of, be in the competitor mindset, both of you? Because obviously you support one another on and off the mat, but to be literally on and off the mat in both of those roles, that's got to be maybe a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I mean, Renato put it like best last week. We've been doing this for 8 years. So even if we've had a little bit of a layoff, this isn't our first rodeo. Like there's been times where we were fighting the world championships and like he's on one mat, I'm on one mat at the same time. It's like I feel like he and I have both done a good job of realizing like we come first when it's time to compete. He has to worry about himself, I have to worry about myself. And even if we are like so emotionally and like invested in what happens to each other, like I do feel like we've come to that point where we're worrying about ourselves.
Right.
Not to say that we don't care about the other person, but it's like, okay, if I need to focus, I'm going to focus on me, and he focus on, like we trust each other.
To do her job, With that said, like I'll probably be there watching her and trying to coach her, even though I'm gonna be competing right after. I feel like it makes me more excited whenever I see her go. That was usually how you went, even on the as we're like going up the ranks. You usually go the day before, and I go the next morning. So you would leave the venue at the Worlds at like 8 o'clock, and I was competing early in the morning, but I was just hyped. I was excited after watching her. So. He helps
That's
me.
awesome. Raquel, I've had the joy of calling some of your MMA fights, and I remember one in particular when you fought Paniki and Zod, and everyone thought it was going to be this war of attrition, this slobber knocker type of stand-up fight.
Yeah.
And you like low-key in the pre-fight interview were like, no, I'm going to take her down, and I'm going to submit her. And that's exactly what you did, and it kind of gave me a glimpse into really who you are as a fighter. Like, don't get me wrong, I think you're a warrior who loves to mix it up and isn't afraid of a fist fight. But when you can play your game, I think you're one of the most dangerous women on the mat. And
Thank you.
At that time when I was talking to you at that fight in Invicta, it was like, okay, does Raquel really have a long future in front of her in MMA? You can't go through so many wars, but now jiu-jitsu has come such a long way, and you're able to focus on this. It's exciting for me, Raquel, to see you have this sort of new lease on fighting as a life. And what is it like for you to approach your matches here, where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, in a lot of ways, is where mixed martial arts was maybe 10 or 15 years ago in terms of kind of blowing up and giving you more opportunities?
Yeah, I kind of thought that this question was going to come, so I was thinking about it beforehand. It's like my main goal was always, MMA, get into the UFC, become a UFC champion, and life just happens differently. And I didn't plan for that. I met Renato, and at the time, I started jiu-jitsu because I had lost some matches, some fights by submission. So I started it just to get better at jiu-jitsu. And then eventually, I met Renato. Jiu-jitsu was his whole life, so it kind of became more important for me as well. And when I became a black belt, I was like, okay, I'm just going to take a little bit of a break. I was right. I got it the night of the Yana fight. I'm going to take a little bit of break, 9 months. I want to focus on winning the Nogi Worlds, which I did a few months later. And I want to win the Worlds too, which, that was that 9 months mark. And I made it to the finals of the Gi Worlds as well. And I was like, it kind of was hard for me to get that taste of like, okay, I made it to 2 finals in 9 months as a black belt. Like, what is more important to me right now? And I really wanted to just keep chasing that jiu-jitsu path, because I saw a future for us and a life for us where, you only have a short time doing MMA. And that was never the plan. Like the plan was never to stay out for so long or to just never come back to it. But then we opened the gym. We were, he was making pretty good money fighting jiu-jitsu, and I was kind of getting paid a little bit better. Even right now, I'm doing jiu-jitsu and making more money than I ever got paid fighting MMA, obviously like on the level that I was fighting MMA.
Right.
And it's just getting better, like right now I know the UFC is going to be investing a lot into this. And I feel like we're here to take over, like I want to, like I'm not here to just be a part of it and do one match. Like I told them, I'm like, I want to become the champion. Like I want for you guys to be having belts and for me to be the face of this thing. And that's what I'm coming to do.
Yeah, Renato, did you ever see jiu-jitsu blowing up this way? Because I feel like for the first time now, this sport is actually able to draw casual fans. You know what I mean? Like for a long time, it's been a sport really that has been followed by the practitioners themselves and maybe some fight nerds. But now you can get actual casual fans to be stoked.
Yeah, I think, that's the cool thing about the UFC Fight Pass in general. That platform, there's a lot of MMA fans, and MMA fans are a lot of people that don't even train and they just watch MMA. So whenever you put like events or UFC Fight Pass, I feel like we get a lot of eyes. So I can't wait for people to see what UFC Fight Pass Invitational is going to be bringing, because I feel like the EBI blew up a lot on the UFC Fight Pass format too, but I feel like, I don't know, I rather watch the Fight Pass Invitational
Yeah.
style of matches. Not saying that
Yeah.
EBI is not great. It's just a different style of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
It's a submission only, a lot of leg locks
Aggression.
and things
Yeah,
like that.
more aggressive.
I
Yeah.
feel like on the UFC Fight Pass, they're bringing the best of the best guys in whatever, gi or no gi, to fight grappling. And yeah, man, nobody has invested that much money to bring all these good guys all at once. And then now all these good MMA fighter guys coming up to also grapple. It's like,
Yeah.
it's so exciting. It's so
Yeah.
exciting to see this happening. I feel like growing up, that was a dream for me. But I always knew I would have to fight MMA at some point because I didn't think I was going to be able to make a living out of jiu-jitsu by itself.
Yeah.
So I got to this point actually in 2021, end of 2021. I decided I was like, I want to fight MMA. I'm going to focus on that. And then I had one more run at Worlds, ended up winning U Worlds, which was a dream that I wanted to achieve, and I was able to do it. And then I just started training MMA, and that's why the layoff was so long. So looking at where we are at now, I'm almost mad that I made this transition to try and invest so much time in MMA when I should have really just stuck with jiu-jitsu. But I'm excited to do both, man. I feel like MMA has made me more aggressive, my cardio better, my wrestling better, the idea of fighting and the idea of being able to actually get hurt from getting hit makes me even more like of a fighter, so I feel like whenever I'm fighting jiu-jitsu now, I'm not too stressed. That's why I was even getting caught towards the end because I was just going, I'm not too
Right.
stressed anymore. I feel like
Yeah.
I got even more lose if I wasn't already loose enough.
But that's the thing too. I think that we've come to this point in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where, for the longest time, you would compete almost just to get seminars, right? To
Yeah.
get
Yes.
your name out there more. And now it's like you can compete as a competitor. And one thing that I think is most important is like it's fight sports. Like, you're not going to have the best matches all the time. You're not going to win every single time. But if you're exciting,
Yes.
people are going to gravitate towards you. And both of you guys, I think, are must-see TV, which is why
Thank
you're
you.
on the FPI 7 coming
Thank
up
you.
here on May 15th.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's that. I said that in the post-fight interview. It's like I have always had this mindset, especially like for women's jiu-jitsu, to be able to make more money and to get like further into the spotlight. We have to put on exciting matches, So I'm like, I'm not here to sit down and wait for someone to come into my guard. I want to wrestle. Whether I'm getting taken down or I'm doing the takedown, I want to attack submissions. I want to be advancing my position the whole time. And that's what makes our sport grow. That's what makes the money come, the viewers come. So it's like we need to do our job, and I feel like Renato has always had that mindset as well. I feel like I probably got that mindset from him. It's like, I want to go on there, I want to put on a show. And there were times where, he kind of kept getting a second place, third place in the bigger tournaments and in the gi. And he was like, okay, maybe my job is to help jiu-jitsu grow as an entertaining sport and I feel like he has done that. And luckily thankfully, he also, won the worlds in the gi, won the worlds in no gi, and won a bunch of big things. But that was kind of like his mindset was, I want to be a showman. I want to put on highlight reel finishes or highlight reel performances. And, they give a lot of credit to him for helping that style of jiu-jitsu grow. Like now you see people doing flying attacks, backflips, cartwheel passes, and all these cool things, and I'm like, he's helping jiu-jitsu. He helps jiu-jitsu become more exciting. And now we're here where we have these platforms that are paying big prize money. And, personally, I think that he had a lot to do with that.
I agree. I mean, I saw some of it on display last week at the PGF. And like I said, must-see TV. UFC Fight Pass Invitational 7. It goes down May 15th. You can see the fighting Canutos, Renato and Raquel, take the mat inside the Apex. So make sure you signed up, guys. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having us. It's a pleasure, man. Looking forward to seeing you again soon in 2 weeks.